we reached an agreement on patrolling, and with that, the disengagement, we have gone back to where the situation was in 2020.
An agreement has been arrived at on patrolling arrangements along the line of actual control in the India-China border areas. As a result of the discussions that have taken place over the last several weeks, an agreement has been arrived at on patrolling arrangements along the line of actual control in the India-China border areas.
We reached an agreement on patrolling, and with that, the disengagement, we have gone back to where the situation was in 2020.
The agreement that has been reached, let me restate what I said earlier. I think what I've said speaks for itself and is fairly clear. There has been, you're aware of the events that took place in 2020 in several areas along the line of actual control. We've been in discussions with Chinese interlocutors, both at a diplomatic level, through the WMCC, as was mentioned earlier as well, and through the at the military level as well, through meetings of the military commanders at various levels. These discussions had in the past resulted in the resolution of standoffs at various locations. You're also aware that there were a few areas and few locations where the standoff had not been resolved. Now, as a result of the discussions that have taken place over the last several weeks, an agreement has been arrived at on patrolling arrangements along the line of actual control in the India-China border areas, and this is leading to disengagement and eventually a resolution of the issues that had arisen in these areas in 2020.
We reached an agreement on patrolling, and with that, the disengagement, we have gone back to where the situation was in 2020. And we can say with that the disengagement process with China, you can say, has been completed. So, so far I would say that's as much as I can share with you. I'm sure in due course इसके details वगैरह निकलेंगे.
So, will now India be able to patrol in the areas of Galwan, Dipsang?
No, you see, there are areas which, for various reasons, after 2020, because they had blocked us, so we had blocked them. So dono tarfa tha, Bob. So what has happened is we have reached an understanding which will allow the patrolling. For example, you spoke about Depsang. That's not the only place. There are other places also. So I think the understanding, to my knowledge, is that we will be able to do the patrolling which we were doing in 2020.
Right. So what does this disengagement will finally mean, and how do we now see India-China relation going forward?
I think it's a good development. It's a positive development, and I would say it's a product of very patient and very persevering diplomacy. That at various points of time, people almost gave up. You can say, this has happened. So we have always maintained that, on the one hand, we had to obviously do the counter deployments, but side by side, we have been negotiating. We've been negotiating, in fact, since September of 2020, when I met my counterpart, Mr. Wangi, in Moscow at that time. So it has been a very patient process, maybe more complicated than it could and should have been, but whatever it is, the fact is, if we are able, as we now have, to reach an understanding regarding patrolling, regarding maintaining the observing the sanctity of the LAC, then I think what it does is it creates a basis that the peace and tranquility, which there should be in the border areas, which there was before 2020, hopefully we will be able to come back to that peace and tranquility. And that was our major concern, because we always said that if you disturb the peace and tranquility, how do you expect the rest of the relationship to go forward? So we'll have to see.
What patrolling will entail under the agreement that was reached yesterday. Well, what it will entail is that in the pending areas under discussion, patrolling and indeed grazing activities, wherever applicable, will revert to the situation as it obtained in 2020. Incidentally, I should say that this is also what the External Affairs Minister was talking about yesterday when he was speaking at the NDTV World Summit, I think. And as to the other part of your question, what the as far as the disengagement agreements reached previously are concerned, those agreements were not reopened in these discussions. The agreement that was reached yesterday, very early yesterday morning, was focused on issues that had remained outstanding in the last couple of years.